Rahul Gandhi disqualified as MP.
All of this is part of a pattern to stop him. A, because he speaks fearlessly and candidly. B, to divert attention from the real issues.
पूरे संसद की कार्रवाई से उन्हें हटा दिया गया। क्यों हटा दिया गया? किस बात का डर है?
Can't contest polls for 8 long years. Rahul says he is fighting for voice of India.
उनकी जबान बंद करने के लिए इतने लाइटनिंग स्पीड में उनको डिस्क्वालीफाई किया गया कि ताकि उनको सच बोलने से रोका जाए।
Poll panel mulls Wayanad by polls in April. Congress says Rahul punished for raising Adani issue.
धन्ना सेठों को बचाओ और विपक्ष को इन्वेस्टिगेशन एजेंसीज के माध्यम से फंसाओ योजना जो भारतीय जनता पार्टी की चल रही है उसकी हम निंदा करते हैं।
निजाम का संदेश है, झुक जाओ या जेल में जाओ।
इस अडानी घोटाले से ध्यान हटाने के लिए आज इनको कीमत चुकानी पड़ी है।
What next for ex-MP Rahul Gandhi?
Well, this is the Congress headquarters and it's unusual rain. It's coming down heavily in Delhi, quite befitting on what has been the Congress's fate today. Tectonic when it comes down to political developments in the country. 10 months before the general elections, Rahul Gandhi was disqualified as an MP today at the back of his conviction of 2 years in a defamation case by a Surat court. We continue to get you the latest on what's happening. Right behind me is the Congress key members in a huddle. Sonia Gandhi, Priyanka Gandhi, other Congress leaders inside the Congress headquarters. Rahul Gandhi is not here. He's chosen not to be here because whatever is being discussed, whatever resolution is being passed, we are told he doesn't want to be a part of it because it concerns him. So he's keeping out of the proceedings. Trust us to get you the latest of what filters in from there in terms of the course of action, the blueprint or the road ahead for the Congress, both legally and politically. But what I did a short while ago was speak Dr. Abhishek Manu Singhvi joins me live right now. A short while ago, Mr. Singhvi, you held a press conference. My first question, sir. The Congress party, including you, have raised strong reservations on how the Surat court handled the entire conviction and the sentencing. Are the same reservations held in the way he got disqualified by the Parliament and the Speaker?
Well, I don't think the same applies there because it is consequential. I'm not saying that they're obliged to give time. I think the consequence follows. But certainly in a normal case of good governance, fairness, you know that filing an appeal takes time. It takes a day or two. It takes you time to consult, translate, consult your lawyers. They go there, they file, the court lists. Certainly they could have stayed their hands for 2 or 3 days before the disqualification was issued. But we are not bothered. Rahul Gandhi has not been allowed to speak in Parliament anyway. If he is not allowed to speak for 3-4 more days, it doesn't matter. We are confident of getting a stay of conviction in the near future. But I am just highlighting the absolutely malicious approach of the authorities. That while a person is exercising his remedial rights, you can't wait for 24 hours. But I want to now go, if you permit me, to a larger political question. There is a legal issue, 2 or 3 legal issues which I will tell you in a second. But please don't forget the larger political perspective. Rahul Gandhi has been speaking fearlessly. He's paying the price for it. This government has been assaulting freedom of speech and even freedom after speech by intimidatory tactics, by a chilling effect. He goes abroad, they make complete excuses of fake nationalism on pretended nationalism grounds and say, unless you apologize, you can't come back and speak. Unless you apologize, you won't right to enter Parliament and speak. He speaks in Parliament on 7th of February in particular, and they refer to privileges. They expunge his remarks. He comes out, and today, now, last few days, of an extraordinary intervention by the ruling party who says, unless he apologizes, the ruling party will disrupt Parliament and not allow him to speak. The ruling party disrupting parliament for the last several decades I have not seen. Now, given this background, you must see three aspects of the legal aspect. Number one, look at some dates. No wonder that everybody is disturbed. Look at the selectivity and opportunism of the complainant. Look at the legal process, the sequence, how the story unfolds. 5 dates are important. It is filed in April 19. In June 21, Rahul Gandhi goes physically to Surat court. In March 22, the complainant inexplicably, but I would say understandably, seeks a stay from the High Court of his own complaint. He goes to the High Court and says, my own complaint proceeding should be stayed and not go on because of some technical ground. From March 22 to February 23 this year, everything is hunky-dory, he's quiet, he does nothing. The matter is pending in the trial court. Meanwhile, the earlier magistrate has changed in 2022 itself.
Okay.
On February 7th, Rahul Gandhi gives this speech in Parliament. On 16th February, 9 days later, the complainant goes to the High Court and says, I withdraw my stay, let the proceedings below go on. He withdraws his stay, the High Court allows withdrawal of his own stay. The proceedings go on, they resume as late as 27th February 23 after 1 year's gap. And lo and behold, everything is over by a judgment yesterday, 23rd March. All done, dusted and over in less than a month. The magistrate does not do any inquiry on section 202. It's a Karnataka Kolar event which is prosecuted in Surat. He is obliged to do an inquiry about jurisdiction within his fold. Under 202 he doesn't do it.
Okay.
He goes along and imposes the maximum punishment in a 15-minute sentencing hearing. For a first-time offender, the final maximum punishment. So obviously there are disturbing features.
But, Dr. Singhvi, you clearly say that the progression of the case was suspect. But the question I want to ask you is, the progression of disqualification was to happen, it possibly happened in less than 24 hours, that's separate. But I want to ask you a question which stems from your own party colleague, which is Manish Tiwari, where he says that disqualification cannot take place through the speaker. It had to come through the president.
Yes, there is a separate debate out there. The Supreme Court, the EC stand is that it must happen automatically. I said so in the press conference. You heard my point about Article 103. I took that point in detail in the press conference. One view, there are two views about it. The Election Commission view, which is recorded in a judgment of the Supreme Court called Lok Prahari, is that no presidential reference is required because this is a court conviction. The contrary view is that Article 103 of the Constitution cannot be effectively diluted or modified by a mere practice of the EC. So that is also one of the points. I took that in the press conference in detail.
Mr. Singhvi, I'll ask you two final questions. There's a point which is being raised by the BJP. They just held a press conference and that practically says, why didn't Rahul Gandhi just apologize? If he had hurt a particular community or if a particular community stood at the back of what he said, deeply hurt, then apologize. This would have never come to pass.
Rahul Gandhi is fearless. He had no intention to maliciously act. There is no crime. These are intimidatory tactics. His speech was on unemployment, scams, price rise. In the course of that, talking of scams, he made a statement about 3 actual individuals. He named them. None of them are complainants. It's a pretended, expanded complaint by people of that community on imagined insults which were never intended. So why should he apologize?
Mr. Singhvi, I would reckon your party now stands at the cusp of possibly what went down in 2006, but you are a pale shade of the Congress then, when Sonia Gandhi had to quit under the office of prophet. She bounced back. But you do reckon that that's the moment of reckoning for you, politically and legally?
There is no moment of reckoning. The moment of reckoning is obviously around the corner for this ruling party, which is why they are scared, running around. They are frustrated. They are doing these actions to throttle free speech. That reckoning is nowhere near us. It is reckoning on the government, which is why Vinash Kale is operating.
My final question, Mr. Singhvi, do you see the opposition now finally coming together? You know, till yesterday we'd heard strong criticism from Mamata Banerjee where Rahul Gandhi was concerned. She practically called him BJP's TRP getter. We see a change in stance. Do you see what has transpired over the last 24 hours now?
Why are you talking of one person? Why are you talking of one party? Today, I got a matter listed in the Supreme Court, which is a coalition of 14 parties on misuse of agencies. 14 parties. Yes, there will be one or two people who may not agree for the time being, but they are all ultimately against the BJP. I don't think the TMC or its leader is in any manner in a divisive mode. There are differences. She is entitled to differences, but the mode is not antithetical or divisive.
Mr. Singhvi, do you think that what has transpired with the disqualification could actually spark a bigger, opposition axis forming, where opposition unity comes into question?
No, I don't. I think opposition unity is there in a large measure. We have to iron out differences and we have to move towards a synergical approach. No doubt there are differences and coordination is a high degree is required, but basic convergence of views is there, basic awareness that you need to converge is there, basic convergence to being aware that vote division has to be prevented is already there. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, sir. Appreciate you joining us. Thank you. All right, so that was Dr. Abhishek Manu Singhvi. He's right now inside, locked in a huddle with the top Congress leadership, which includes Priyanka Gandhi and Sonia Gandhi, Mr. Kharge, Jairam Ramesh, Mr. P. Chidambaram. But that aside, Rahul Gandhi is not there. He doesn't want to be a part of it because he feels whatever is taking place is at the back of, being spoken of him, so he doesn't want to partake in that. Having said that, let me connect right now. Nalin Kohli from the BJP is joining us. He's a noted lawyer himself. Mr. Kohli, appreciate you taking the time out and speaking to us. Quick question. With what I spoke with Mr. Abhishek Manu Singhvi just a short while ago, and that is, yes, the fact that the conviction stood at 2 years, the sentence might have been suspended for 30. The natural progression did mean disqualification as an MP. However, the charge by the Congress is that there seemed to be an abject hurry by the BJP without any consultation to immediately go ahead and disqualify Rahul Gandhi. The government, is also charged with what Manish Tiwari says of an erroneous decision of disqualification, which, as per Mr. Tiwari, had to come not from the Speaker but through the President or the EC.
Let's first look at the matter in totality. Mr. Rahul Gandhi is a citizen of the country. He's not a special citizen of the country. He is exactly like you, me, or anyone else as a citizen. The law applies equally to everyone. The law is very clear. Earlier, Section 8 and subsection 4 of Section 8 of the Representation of Peoples Act 1951 permitted members of Parliament a period till their final conviction takes place, which means the period of appeals would be considered before they were disqualified. This was challenged in the Lily Thomas case. Subsection 4 was deleted. The law as it stands is now subsection 3 of Section 8 of the Representation of Peoples Act, which says there will be immediate disqualification in terms of a conviction. And if I would read the language for your benefit of your viewers, just so that it is very clear, it says, shall be disqualified from the date of such conviction. Now, what does Article 102, 1E of the Constitution say, which is the article which deals with, again, disqualification of members of Parliament? So it says disqualification for membership, and E reads, if he is so disqualified by or under any law made by Parliament. Now that says shall be disqualified immediately. So it means that disqualification has gone into effect. Technically, it's only an announcement of that disqualification. Can you say that the law of the land will be given a go-by just because it is Rahul Gandhi? Have not people in the past been disqualified? Lalu Yadav, Jayalalitha ji, other senior Rashid Masood of the Congress, Asha Rani of the BJP, several others, Vikram Saini. There are so many cases. So I think Mr. Abhishek Manu Singhvi, as Mr. Rahul Gandhi's lawyer, as an eminent lawyer, is entitled to have a point of view, but this all needs to be tested in a court of law. What stands is that Mr. Rahul Gandhi was convicted. for an offence which involved a conviction of 2 years, which is the minimum conviction required for disqualification. His conviction was not stayed, and Mr. Rahul Gandhi, as required under subsection 3 of section 8 of the Representation of People's Act, read with article 102(1)(e), stands disqualified. That was announced.
Mr. Kohli, you know what the Congress also says is there's a chronology to all of it. And if you do look at it, it does look, it's a bit intriguing. And for once, if you, along with the BJP spokesperson's hat, put on the hat of a noted Supreme Court lawyer, you look at the chronology and how this case was revived, by the same person whose petition was heard, who first stayed the same case, then reopened it days after Rahul Gandhi, asked for it to be activated days after Rahul Gandhi made the speech on Adani in Parliament, and then hearing began after a full 1 year of there being a stay on this case. So the Congress says this is clear vendetta politics. The government got spooked with Rahul Gandhi invoking the Prime Minister alongside Mr. Adani.
So Preeti, as a lawyer, let me respectfully answer that, including my political hat. But let's take it from the legal threshold. What is the Congress party's final stand? Can we please have clarity on it? Their senior leaders say we respect the court process, and others say we raise questions on the way the court conducted itself. So make up your mind. Are you saying that the court of Surat was biased, the judge didn't apply his mind, and he was acting on an agenda? Or do you say we respect it, now we are going to challenge it? So I mean, make up your mind. You can't have both the arguments depending on which way this, what is the time of the day. Number two, is this the first time that the Congress party has used the court proceedings and done it so? In the Supreme Court, when they like a judgment, the courts are independent. When they don't like a judgment, they say the judiciary is threatened, it's no longer impartial. When they win elections, the election commission is normal, excellent, well done. When they lose an election, the election commission is biased, institutions in India are under challenge, the electronic voting machine is questionable. So this is an argument of convenience. It's an argument of irresponsibility. It's an argument coming from a defeated mindset that is unable to take on things on its merit. People win elections because the voters vote by pressing their finger on the button on an electronic voting machine. Similarly, cases are primarily lost or won on the basis of how the arguments are put forth. Now in the Surat court, 1 year later arguments come. I'm finding it nothing strange. We are every day in court. Dr. Singhvi is in court every day. I'm in court every day. And we meet probably 3 times a day in different courts. And what do we find? There are dates that come after 2 months. There are dates that come after 6 months. Sometimes hearings start in the trial courts after 1 year, 1.5 years, after 8 months. So are you every time going to pick up a question of timing? Why did it happen after 8 months and not 9 months? This timing issue that the Congress party is doing is not correct.
But, the timing issue, Mr. Kohli, had more to do with the fact that the same person who was fighting the case against Rahul Gandhi first stayed the case for a year, reactivated days after his speech on Mr. Adani. But that aside, there's a legal route to it, which the Congress says, okay, the government could have gone by and abided by what the legal route was, which was in progression, disqualification from the House. But the Congress alleges that you've been very vindictive, you've been wild, you've made this highly political in the form of that the Parliamentary Affairs Minister, who's supposed to get quorum in the House between the opposition and the government, was the one today rallying OBC MPs together to raise a voice against Rahul Gandhi, stating that he insulted the OBC community. On the other hand, with what we are just picking up, now a clear push on Rahul Gandhi to evict his 12 Tughlaq Lane house because he's no longer an MP.
But why shouldn't? So I have a question to... No, so 1 minute, hang on. Is Mr. Rahul Gandhi a senior member of the Congress party? Does he not abuse the BJP on a daily basis? I mean, the fact of the matter is, can it be less political? Should it be less political? I mean, the Congress party has been waiting for 20 years and hoping for 20 years that Mr. Rahul Gandhi will finally arrive politically and be able to deliver to them some great victory. So, I mean, they have made it political, we haven't. They have selected him as the heir, whether he wants to be the heir, doesn't want to be the heir, whether he wants to be president, doesn't want to be the president. But that is the Congress party's position of making him such an important political person. Are we now looking at as if the BJP is making him a majorly political person? No, we are only responding to another political person. Let's go further. Mr. Rahul Gandhi, if he wants to protect himself, should he not be more circumspect with what he says? Did he not apologize before the Honorable Supreme Court in 2018 when he made loose comments on Rafale? And the court advise him in its judicial magnanimity, be more careful with your words? In 19, he comes up with this statement. He now says that democracy is in danger. He wants the help. What are Europe and America doing about the so-called threat to Indian democracy? So are you expecting foreign powers to interfere in India's democracy when you were elected, when your party won Himachal Pradesh? That means democracy is in danger. So Mr. Rahul Gandhi is a person who's loose with his words. And if the law catches up with him, I think every law-abiding citizen is going to welcome that law has acted. And that's all it is. Now, he can't expect a special set of privileges because he is from the Nehru-Gandhi family and he believes that I should be treated separately.
Well, appreciate you joining us, Mr. Kohli. Where the Congress is concerned, to use all the cliches of it's an acid test or trial by fire, all of that complete. It's raining, like I began the show with, befitting for the Congress. It's a tough time for the Congress. What we can tell you right now is that the Congress top brass hold up in a meeting right behind me in a huddle, charting out their legal and political course. Legally, it's quite simple. They have to approach the appellate, the Gujarat High Court, to seek a stay on his conviction and his sentence. Political is a very different story. How the Congress chooses to fight this politically could very well lay a bearing on 2024 elections.